I also saw, the occasional missionary drift pretty significantly, and go through some very painful prodigal son stories where they were very strong in the gospel. And I'd say probably the number one issue was pornography. There's a reason why the church talks about it so much, and you get that. For some of them, the ones that I know who have told me, and we've had conversations about it. It's extremely common, and it always starts innocently. And so, if there's one piece of advice, missionaries getting home from their missions now have probably lived through that rise in the internet to where their parents were far more aware. It probably went hand in hand with the birds and the bees talk as far as this is what pornography is and this is how you stay away from it. And you treat it, so I hope at least that they're a little bit more accountable and that they've had very clear instructions of what it was. Back, when I was coming home from my mission, that probably wasn't the case. There was no Facebook, there was no Google, where, online pornography wasn't that big of a deal. It was just, you kind of heard about it, but I'd say a couple of my mission buddies that I know of, and I should say this, people I didn't serve with that are friends of mine now, that they serve missions. So I guess I can compare this, that serve missions that, we're close, and they tell me of the struggle, and that they had to overcome pornography addiction. And most of the time it started very soon after being home from their mission. And many of them had never viewed pornography prior to a mission. I know this is, it's kind of like the Book of Mormon. This is not a fun topic to talk about, but I shouldn't shy away that this is something that one of the most important advices I could provide is to keep a return missionary from getting majorly derailed from their goals is know what it is, know how to avoid it, and treat it with the utmost seriousness. Don't, if you've never had a problem with it, don't think you can't become a victim, and do those things in your life that will always keep the Spirit. Because when you have the Holy Spirit, you have something that is very important, and that is perspective. You see things the way they should be seen, and it becomes much easier to avoid temptation because you see it for what it is. And I would only assume that they probably came home from their mission and got casual in other aspects, and their spirituality, that high from the mission slowly started to fade, and because they weren't replenishing it, they didn't go seeking it, but it found them. And unfortunately, at that point, they must have been vulnerable, and they got bit, and then it became hard to overcome it, and it became their Abrahamic trial. So again, it's not a pleasant talk, but it's not that you haven't heard it from general authorities. So the missionaries that I have seen that temporarily got derailed, or that permanently got derailed, it wasn't that, I just grew out of my testimony. It was that a lot of them innocently had that problem, and that just started to chip away at them. And over time, for the ones that are not members of the church, or that are not active whatsoever, that used to be very strong missionaries, it was this very slow fade, this very slow numbingness to the things of the Spirit that led to experimenting with other behaviors, and the things that were important to them. They truly did get lost in the mists of darkness at that point. So, but on a positive note, I have many missionaries that finished their missions that I know of that went on to have incredible success, and it was that they just kept doing the basics.